All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a very special CAD vs. CAD esports tournament event. And the reason this is so special is because for the first time in TooTallToby history, we're going to be hosting an event exclusively for high school students. This is a group of on-sheep wizards from La Grande High School in La Grande, California, and their teacher reached out to me and said, hey, I think it would be awesome if we had our students competing against one another in a tournament. And I said, I think that would be awesome as well. Let's see if we can make it happen. So with that, let's introduce that instructor, none other than Corey Mesa, aka Mesa Makes. Welcome, Corey, to the tournament. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
We're doing well. The kids are excited. This is actually their last day of Christmas break, so I don't know if this shows how invested they are, but they're giving up a day outside of school.
Oh, so they're not officially in school today? They're just coming in for the tournament?
Yep, they start next Monday. So
wow,
their last Friday they're giving up to do this. So you can tell that they're committed and they actually want to be a part of the future of CAD drawing. So
yeah, that is dedication. Taking the day off of school to come to school. That is epic. Well, we have some people in the chat here who have been in the tournament before. I see we've got Ricardo Jean, multi-time contestant in the tournament. Some of you guys I'm sure recognize Ricardo Jean. We got Dom Linder in the chat. We got Chris Knudsen, who I believe Chris was in the tournament before, I think, if not longtime friend of the show. We got Atse Sababa in the chat. He has definitely been in the tournament before. And we got Rockcrawler, old friend of the show. And up at the top of the chat here, we got Smiley and Mr. FANCYPANTS, who of course are going to be competing today. This is awesome, guys. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you so much for cheering on these competitors. And what we're going to see today is going to be absolutely epic. If you're into CAD vs. CAD tournaments, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to share and reshare. And of course, be sure to sign up for a free account over at TooTallToby.com. And what we're going to see today is the first two matchups of this 8-person tournament. So we've got 8 people from Corey's high school. What do you guys teach in that class? Is it exclusively CAD? Is it exclusively Onshape? Or do you guys do other stuff?
So we don't really teach CAD. It's kind of crazy. We do it as a side thing. It's a unit for our school because we focus on agriculture mechanics. So we do everything from engines, welding, plumbing, woodworking. I mean, you name it, these kids are learning it. Well, our shop flooded last year and I had to figure out a way to fill time. And I was like, well, I really like this drafting stuff and we can't use any welders underwater. So let's do it. And these kids took off with it and they're loving it. So
wait, let's just go back. So they're not learning just CAD. I mean, CAD is almost like an offshoot of what they're really learning. They're learning multiple disciplines in the manufacturing process.
Absolutely, yeah. And so when I throw the CAD at them, they're like, oh, well, can't I just go drill this out? And I was like, you can, but like, how is somebody going to replicate that in the future if you're not around? How are they going to know? So let's make these plans and let's do it. And a lot of these things we end up doing, I'm like, oh, I want to make that, but somebody wants it a little bit bigger. And I was like, well, go back into Onshape, change some dimensions, and there you go. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, and it's ready to go for you. So that's why we like using Onshape.
Well, that is awesome. And I mean, I got to tell you that as someone who has worked in the industry, I know that one of the most frustrating things that machinists run into is receiving designs from CAD users who don't really understand the machining process. So the fact that you're teaching them the manufacturing process and that as they are getting into 3D CAD, they're immediately able to think like, well, how is somebody going to build this? It's going to help them so much in the long run. It's going to make them such a valuable member of manufacturing teams and of project teams. I imagine if they ever get on like an F1 team, whether it's for a school project or even for a profession, that's really going to make them valuable because the parts can be brought to reality much faster when you don't have to have that back and forth with the machinist because you already have designed it in a way that it can be built.
Absolutely. And when I learned this when I was in high school, it was like, oh, I can't wait to get back to my welding period to learn it. And then, well, that was 45 minutes in a day. Well, these kids have these Chromebooks with them. They'll learn it one day with me and they'll come back the next day learning way more than I taught them that day. And they're like, oh, I learned it because I liked it. And I was like, good, you got the bug and now you're getting after it. So these kids that are running today are the ones that definitely stay after. And like, well, I tried this software and I saw this new thing happen. And like, we have a kid that's learning Blender now because of this. So it's pretty cool.
Nice. Maybe we'll see that in one of his fun facts.
Yeah.
Well, I know
I see Mr. Thomas on here. He's one of my buddies that works at Merced High down the road. So
nice.
cool.
Shout out to Mr. Thomas. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, and we got Pico Boo in the chat also, a longtime fan of the channel, been recently tuning in on Model Monday Live. And we also, I see we got Victor K here in the chat. He is the former world champion of 3D CAD speed modeling. So the fastest in the world is joining us here today to watch these students. So hopefully no pressure on these students.
Yeah, no pressure, guys.
Well, all these students are from your class. They're all in 10th grade or 11th grade. What we're going to see here today first is going to be Smiley going up against the JAYUS, a 10th grader versus a 10th grader. Then we're also going to see a match here of Mr. Fancy Pants going up against NXC. That's a 10th grader versus an 11th grader. Then next week, we're going to see the remainder of those matches in the round of 8, which is going to be Escalete versus La La Lambs, an 11th grader versus a 10th grader. And then finally, we'll finish things out with Dubya. I really like that logo that Dubya made, going up against Witch Ho. So awesome job to these students. I understand you guys worked together and put together all these logos. The students built them all themselves.
Yeah, we kind of used some different sources and moved stuff around and made stuff go, but the kids are all about it. And I was like, it has to be your name without being your name. So let's see what we can do. And they had a good time. So
very cool, very cool. And I see Pico Boo in the chat says, NXC reminds me of MXC. I'm assuming he's referring to the Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, one of the best television shows ever ported.
Yeah, best show ever.
Ever ported to America. I'm pretty sure that they just made up the translations when they ported it over, and that's what made that show so funny. So epic,
absolutely.
Epic. All right, guys. Well, here's the question. What are these guys competing for? And the answer is, Ricardo Jean in the chat with a super chat. Thank you, Ricardo Jean, says, go Escalente. Nice, nice. You got a fan out there. So yes, indeed. Go, go, go. So what are these guys going to be competing for? Well, we got to give a huge shout out to 3D Connection. You can visit them at 3dconnection.com, and they have put up an awesome prize package for our 4th place, 3rd place, and 2nd place finisher. You're going to get a Keyboard Pro with numpad and the CAD Pro wireless. I actually have this keyboard up here on my other computer, and I'm using it now a lot more, and it's really cool that it's got that extra number pad. You can put the number pad on either side, whatever you prefer. So you can kind of like, what I do a lot of times, like I like to keep my hand on the mouse, and then I use some shortcuts over here, almost like a macro pad. So this is a really, really nice device that they've provided as prizes for the students. And then you're also going to get the CAD Mouse Pro Wireless, which is a mouse that is dedicated to having higher productivity in 3D CAD. So that is going to be absolutely awesome. And then for our 1st place finisher, they're also throwing in the Space Mouse Compact, which is one of these 3D controllers you can use to be more productive in 3D CAD. It also works in Blender. I know that there was a user who was saying that he's into Blender. It works in a lot of different programs. It's really a true productivity peripheral. And a huge shout out to 3D Connection. If you guys haven't visited them before, be sure to visit their site. They also offer a student discount. So if you visit the site, there's a section with the academic discount. You sign up with your academic email, and then you can access that discount for any of their products. So shout out to 3D Connection. Thank you so much to 3D Connection for always being a supporter of the channel and of these tournaments. And with that, again, don't forget, guys, hit that like button. Be sure to share and reshare. Be sure to sign up for a free account at TooTallToby.com. And here is how these tournaments work. This is an example here using Ivan the Reasonable, former champion, and Aaron C., former 3rd place finisher. And when these guys go up against each other, what happens is we show them a 2D print, and they try to take that 2D print and turn it into a 3D model as quickly as possible. They're going to calculate the mass and then enter that mass directly in the YouTube chat. So our first match is going to be between Smiley and the JAYUS, and we're going to all be watching the YouTube chat to see who enters that answer first. The rules are that this is going to be a best-of-3 matchup. So each time one of our runners finishes with a correct answer, they're going to get a point, and the first person to get 2 points is going to move on. And the runners are allowed to get 1 wrong answer. If they get it wrong and then they get it wrong again, we bring up what we call the clock of doom, and that's going to mean that they're going to have 5 minutes on the clock to get the correct answer. And finally, if you're out there in the chat and you're watching, remember, you can play along. You can absolutely play along, but please do not help, which means if you're modeling this part, if I show the 2D print and you're modeling the part and you come up with the mass, that's fine, but don't enter that mass in the chat and don't help them if they get stuck. Don't say, hey, you're missing a fillet, or you dimensioned that to the center. It should have been to the point of tangency. Corey, what do you think is a good way, if you're watching in the chat and you want to flex and let everybody know, what do you think is a good way to let everybody know that you solved it before anybody else?
I think just saying you got it.
Got it.
Got it. Nothing else. Just got it, right?
I got it. Yep, that's exactly it. And if anybody's out there who has a special icon pack, if there's any members of the channel, you can flex a little bit and you can say I got it, and you can even use that special icon. There we go. Dom's got it. So he says I got it. I got it. Exactly. You guys got it.
There we go.
Mesa Makes has got it. Oh yeah. So let's get into it here. Our first matchup is going to begin with Smiley and the JAYUS. We're going to be trying to run this live stream today for 1 hour, so we are going to be a little bit under the gun here to get these all done, and that's why we're kind of moving at a fast clip here. But I know you guys are all here for the action anyway, so let's get right into it. So what we're going to do is we're going to run a practice round here first for these guys, just to make sure that everything from the tech side is looking good, is working good. And what Corey is doing is Corey is actually in the classroom with these students. And so he's going to be providing them with a physical copy of the print. This is a little unique. We don't normally get this luxury. But these students are going to get a physical copy of the print. They're still going to use YouTube to enter their answer directly in the chat. So let's see how this goes. This is going to be the practice round. This is just going to be to make sure that all of our technical settings are working correctly. So here we go. Let's flip over to full screen. And as soon as I show this print, our runners are going to be challenged to create this print. And if you're following along with at home, you can take a screen capture and see how fast you can model this part. Here we go. This practice battle begins in 3, 2, 1. Go. What is the mass of this part in 0.xx grams? The tolerance on this one, no tolerance. And this is in IPS, and it's using ABS as the material. You can see that down in the title block down at the bottom. And both of our runners have got this model. They've got this print. They are getting into it here. We can see Smiley on the left here, and we can see the JAYUS on the right. Let me see if I can maybe make this view a little bit bigger here for some of these guys. I know they're using Chromebooks because these are high school students, so they're a little bit wide here. I think actually before I do that, I'm just going to make sure that the clock of doom is ready to go, is up and running and ready to go, because oh yeah, it's working. What am I even worried about, Corey? All systems are working perfect.
There we go. There we go.
This is what we like to see. So here we see our runners are going through. They're trying to model. It looks like Dom Linder got it. He says, got it. Yup, that's me in the chat. Says, just popping in for the view count. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you.
Once you get it, put it in the chat. Let's go.
And then once these guys get it, we see the Smiley is going to answer here 0.01. I'm not sure if that is correct. Don't think that is correct, the Smiley. So Smiley got it wrong one time. He's going to go through and see if he can't figure out what is the correct answer here. We're looking for this answer in pounds. Uh-oh, it looks like maybe that the part calculator might be off. Let's see what's happening here. Maybe our runners forgot to change their units. Uh-oh, this is something that can happen, right? If you forget to change your units, you could model the whole thing up in the incorrect units. That wouldn't be good. And it looks like
take a look at your units, guys.
Yeah, it looks like that may in fact be what's happened here. We've got our we're looking for our weight here in grams, and Atse in the chat says, yup, that's me. Don't forget to hit that like button too. Yeah, very important. Remember to hit that like button. So it looks like maybe the JAYUS on the right did a full restart here. He went in and set his units to the correct values, and now looks like he might be going through and doing a full restart. He's going to be setting his length. Remember, that first one is your length. So the very top one is length, and you're on newtons right now. You're going to be right above that for grams. You're going one slot too low on both of them. Yeah, go up to the one that says grams and change that to pounds.
There you go.
Oh, he still didn't set it right.
One more below it.
Yeah, he's still in millimeters, and he's still in millimeters, and he's still in grams. And we see on the left we got Smiley going through. Don't worry, guys. This is going to get a little bit faster. This is the practice. This is why we do the practice. So Smiley's going to be setting that to inches. Looks like you set it to millimeters. Set that back to inches. There you go. And you got pounds for your unit default. And now let's see if that works any better. If you got your model set up correctly. If you got your dimensions all set up correctly now. Here we go. The JAYUS
I'm hoping it's not the custom.
There we go. The custom feature looks good. So now using that custom feature, and this is the cool thing about Onshape, is that we can create these custom scripts. So Smiley answered incorrect again because he answered in grams. Oh no. So normally this would disqualify him. Now, because this is just practice, Smiley, I'm going to give you one more guess here. You're supposed to be answering in pounds, but the correct answer was up there. I did see it on there. So we're going to, again, we're letting these guys kind of work out the jitters a little bit. I think if you're using that custom script, you probably don't even have to worry about pounds in the in
the weight. Yeah,
in the weight,
make sure you change millimeters and inches, and that'll help you go through it.
And Dusty Dyer says, this is awesome. Let's go. Yeah, let's go indeed. This is a pretty cool little format here, and this is something that, you know, again, they're working out the jitters a little bit here. Smiley trying to go from his memory comes up with 0.5. Not quite. Let's see here. We're gonna let the JAYUS see if he can sneak through with a win here. And this is just a practice round, guys. Imagine how exciting this is gonna get in the real battle. All right, taking a look there. Okay, there's the Smiley. He's getting it up. It's supposed to be in 2-place precision. 0.xx. What is the mass of this part? And it looks like the JAYUS is also bringing up the enter. Who's going to enter it into the YouTube chat first?
This is where it gets interesting.
This is where it gets interesting.
All right, get it in that chat, guys.
They're both looking at the answer. They're both going to try and enter it into the YouTube chat. Smiley comes in with 0.52, and that is correct. Well done, my friend. And so if this were a real match, at this point, what would happen is the Smiley would get a point here. We'd throw a point up here on the Smiley. Whoops. Throw a point up here on the Smiley. He would get a point here for winning that round. And Dom Linder would come into the chat and say GG for that round. So good job, guys. Good little quick tech check there. Wanted to make sure that everybody could see everything. And with that, let's jump back into our presentation and let's find out what the official first challenge is going to be for these guys. Now, the way that we do this here at TooTallToby on the tournaments is we use what's called the Wheel of Fate. And the Wheel of Fate is sponsored by our friends over at 3D Connection. So thanks again to our friends at 3D Connection. And you can see here that the beginning of each of these items on the Wheel of Fate is 25 HSH, the high school heroes, and then 01, 02, 03, 04, all the way up to 12. And so what you in the chat get to do is you get to test your ability to be clairvoyant by entering in one of those numbers. Is it going to be drawing number 1, drawing number 2? You can just enter in 01, 02, 03. Rockcrawler coming in with 12. Now, of course, we got to shuffle this thing up before we spin it. So you guys do have a few more moments here to test out who has clairvoyance, who is going to get this correct in the chat. Rockcrawler says 12, Mesa makes 10, Victor K 7, Vicky Chong 3, Ken Haley 5, Chris Knudsen 8, Min Watex, what's up, my man? Good seeing you in here again. 9, and Jim Yu coming in with 8. And Dom coming in with 11. Let's give this thing a shuffle. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. And go. So let's find out who in the chat is clairvoyant. What's it going to be? Right between 6 and 10.
Oh, I said 10. I said 10.
Oh, it's none other than Mesa
10.
Mix.
There we go.
Well done, my friend. Well done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to learn just a little bit about these runners, and we are going to bring up all of the information in the background to get that drawing number 10 ready to go. And so let's learn a little bit about these runners. On the left, we're going to see Smiley. He's in 10th grade, and we've got he's got some interesting hobbies here. And then on the right, we've got the JAYUS, and also has some interesting hobbies here, including a favorite drink. Guys, let us know in the chat what your favorite drink is. And Corey, maybe you could tell us some more about these runners.
Yeah, so Smiley actually on the way here yesterday was telling me he plays the electric guitar and he's been teaching himself over Christmas break, so that's pretty cool. He said he's currently working on a tower defense game, and that's where he learned to start using Blender. So he's doing a little bit of everything. I know Smiley also he rides a skateboard a lot and does all kinds of stuff. So these kids are well versed. And the JAYUS, very much like me, is a huge Spider-Man fan. Nice. He loves boxing, and his favorite drink is Dr. Pepper. So I know there's a lot of you guys out here. It's like I feel like it's a Mountain Dew or a Dr. Pepper family. So if you like Dr. Pepper, go ahead and put a 1 down there in the chat, and let's see who Dr. Pepper fans are at.
Yeah, we're gonna let's find out where our Dr. Pepper fans are exactly. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for that. It's really interesting to learn a little bit more about these runners, and I wish them both the best of luck during this run. So you have the drawings. You're ready to give those drawings to the students?
Absolutely. I got one of my, actually, we have NXC ready to pass the next one out. So he's here helping out today.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, listen, guys, make sure that if you're watching from home and you want to follow along with you, take a screen capture, because we're only going to leave the screen capture up for a moment so we can capture all the action. And for you guys, the runners, make sure the first thing you do is you go into your workspace units and make sure that you're using either millimeters or inches, depending on what the drawing says down in the title block. So a little pro tip there for the runners. Here we go, guys. This first CAD battle in our High School Heroes CAD vs. CAD tournament begins in 3, 2, 1, go! What is the mass of this part in 0.xxx pounds? This part is created in inches. The unit system is IPS, which is inches. The material is plain carbon steel, and the density is 7,800 kilograms per cubic meter. If you're watching from the audience, grab a screen capture. Both of our runners are looking at this print, deciding on where their first sketch is going to be located. So we call that starting plane, starting profile, or starting plane, starting sketch. And let's flip over and see what kind of a decision they make on this CLEVIS mount. This is a pretty cool part, huh, Corey?
Yeah, this looks like something we'd actually make in class. This is something, you know, we'd use like for caster wheels or thrown on the bottom of a barbecue. So this is right up their alley. Hopefully they can wrap their heads around how to get it. And they think back to the practice packet I gave them when we first started all this. I think there was a drawing that was very, very similar to this. So
that is awesome. Yeah, it's interesting. It looks like Smiley on the left is actually running into a little bit of a hiccup with the connection side of things, where the JAYUS is able to get right in there and start sketching. So not sure what's happening on Smiley's side, but it looks like he's hitting, just running into a problem with the interface responding to him. So I wonder if he's having a connectivity issue or something. Let's see what happens. Oh no, we're getting an all white screen. Man, these are sometimes the heartbreaks that we run into during these tournaments.
There we go. Load that screen up. It's coming. It's coming.
There we go. One of the other teachers is probably streaming Netflix.
Yep.
All right, cool.
If they're here watching Netflix on break, we got some issues.
Yeah, they should be watching the tournament.
Go at home and watch. Get your own. I'll pay for it.
All right,
I think
Aaron
my
C
wife's
is
watching.
in the
Maybe
chat.
I won't pay for it.
What's up, Aaron C? Welcome, welcome. Says better late than never. What did I miss? You're right on time, my friend. We are just getting started. The very first battle. These runners are trying to build up this CLEVIS mount here, and they're trying to figure out what the best way is to do that using Onshape as their 3D CAD solution. And so we see that we've got the JAYUS on the right, a 10th grader from the Grand High School, going up against Smiley on the left. It looks like the JAYUS on the right decided to kind of use a layout approach, kind of creating that location for that upper geometry. And it looks like Smiley on the left is using a similar approach. It's actually kind of interesting. They both started out with the same sketch in the same location. Now they needed to figure out what they're going to do with this curved section up at the top. Those curved sections can sometimes be a little bit tricky. I like the way that Smiley was able to quickly get in there and create the wall thickness for these thin walls here. Oh, he's looking at this thing from the other end.
Yeah.
There we go. I like that a lot. Really good use.
So I see Micah in the chat saying, "Didn't know about Ivan exploits." They do, but they don't. You remember, I'm their teacher, so I don't want them to know about ways to cheat and get the math without getting the correct geometry. They know it a little bit, but I don't think it's more beneficial if they don't use an Ivan exploit.
Yeah, great question from Micah about the Ivan exploit. And that definitely is something that, well, the reason it's called the Ivan exploit is because Ivan actually used it in a tournament, in a live tournament, and got that name coined. But I think that, you know, with a lot of models, it's like you said, it's not only, you know, beneficial for their learning experience, but it's just beneficial for the modeling process. Like if you were going to locate that hole at the top of the arc there, at the center of that arc, you know, you may as well just drop it right at the center. It's not like it takes you anything extra to do that anyway.
Yeah, draw a circle off that same point and you're ready to go. It's the same geometry, so why not use existing stuff?
Now, of course, for those of you that are maybe a little bit newer to the world of 3D CAD, we use a term called diameter and we use a term called radius. Diameter being the total distance across this circle from one tangency point to another, crossing over the center point, where radius is only half of that distance. It starts at the center point and then goes out to a point of tangency. And so sometimes you'll see on these 2D prints that dimension might be called out as a radius, it might be called out as a diameter, and that can sometimes be a little bit confusing, you know, when you've got a dimension like up top here, you've got this 0.5 through, which means it's a through hole, and then you've got this radius 0.625 as a radius. You can see the diameter is going all the way across. The radius is only going from the center point out to that arc. So really that arc would have a diameter of 1.25 instead of, 0.625. So that's something that can definitely be confusing, especially if you're a newer user to CAD and newer into the world of engineering, and definitely something our runners should be looking out for as they're going through these challenges.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think just getting those circles drawn and going from there. And I know I teach when we do it, some kids are very much, every time a text box pops up, they have to type in a number. And then there's other kids that'll draw it from the whole like they'll just draw a bunch of lines and then they'll go dimension afterwards. So it's kind of cool to see the two different ways of going about it and how they kind of get there.
Yeah. Yeah, the auto dimensioning in Onshape can definitely be helpful. It can certainly save you a lot of time if you can learn how to use the auto dimensioning efficiently and effectively. But the ability to go back and add the dimensions after the fact can also be helpful. Sometimes it's helpful just to kind of get the idea down and then start going in and adding your relationships. We see on the left. We see on the left here. We got SMILEY using the auto dimensioning. Looks like he was trying to get that radius auto dimensioned in there, and it looked like he was doing the right thing. I'm not sure why it went crazy there.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like
there you go. That looks perfect.
There we go. I know maybe my tech guy will see this and we'll realize we need better computers for this, but I think that's part of the headache they're running into.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Part of the extra benefit of having this tournament, right?
Yep.
So now it looks like the SMILEY is running into an issue with how to get that, that line so that it's touching that arc with just touching it off at one single point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we would call a rule in parametric modeling, or a relationship in parametric modeling. So we'll see how he handles that one. Usually what you can do is you can create that rule or that relationship between the two. But we also noticed that over on the right, we got the JAYUS, who was able to create that rule kind of on the fly as he was creating that line. So
absolutely,
we could always go back and add those rules after the fact, or we could include those rules as we're creating the geometry.
Oh, that was kind of interesting the way he went there too. SMILEY just came in and extended that line instead of doing what we were thinking, because I know you were probably in the same headspace that I was, using a constraint of some sort.
Yeah,
and
we'll see if that gets him out of it.
Extended that line instead of doing. Let's see if that gets him the correct mass. And
Aaron C saying, have any of the competitors today attended the Model Monday stream? Well, we've had I think we had the JAYUS on Monday. I think that was
the JAYUS has been on, I think, for the last couple weeks.
Nice.
I know NXC's watched a couple of times. I think the hardest thing is just trying to, even me personally, without having two screens, it's killer. And I know it's commonplace in the drafting world to have two, if not three or four monitors. I know the more monitors I have, I feel like the more productive I am. So
yeah,
that kind of limits them a little bit. But once they get there, they kind of get it going.
So I like the way the SMILEY on the right decided to do this as a multi-body approach, multiple parts here in Onshape. The question is, how is he going to get that body from the one side over to the other side so that he's got that CLEVIS sticking up on both sides? So this is going to be kind of interesting to see how he handles this. A lot of times when we're working in 3D CAD, what we'll do is we'll center our geometry so we have those planes to work with if we do need to do some type of mirroring command like this.
Yep, and I think he's doing exactly what you're saying. I know, being the teacher of these kids, I kind of know how their brain works or what hiccups they've run into.
Sure.
And I've seen how some of them handle these problems, and it's not always the way that I would show them how to do it. So
yeah,
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, this is interesting. So he's just gonna looks like he's just gonna trim it up. I like it. Aaron C says, the first time I competed with one monitor plus an iPad, I actually found it really nice to have the second screen below my CAD window as opposed to an open monitor on the other side. That's kind of cool, using an iPad almost like an extra piece of paper.
I know that's where we thrive, is anything I can print out. That's why I kind of brought that up to you when we first started, was if they can have a 3D print or a 2D print at physical, they're gonna run with it. And
yeah,
half the times the kids throw them in the backpack and they get all crunched up anyways. But this first time I give it to them, it should look nice, and we sprang for color this time, so should work out.
When you first said that, I remember before we got into the stream, you were saying that monitor got put into a situation where it got crumpled up. So when you first said, like, yeah, they just throw them in their backpack and get them crumpled up, I thought you were talking about monitors at first.
Oh, well, no, my monitor did. It's back there. I'm gonna have to deal with that later. But they loaded stuff up, and then I think we put more stuff on top of it, extension cord and everything, so we could run out here in the library today. And got a little cracked, but nothing we can't fix. So maybe that'll be our next project.
So it looks like SMILEY's getting in here. It looks like now what he's trying to do is figure out what plane he's going to be using for that mirror. He's selected the bodies. Now there's a box there that's saying mirror plane. So it looks like maybe he's going to need to pick a plane or a planar face. If he has a planar face on that model or a plane, that should give him what he needs. Instead, it looks like he's opting to use the make connector option. Yeah, which, you know, you certainly could do it that way as well, but you might be overthinking this a little bit.
Is this going to be the smiley exploit? I feel like would you technically get the same geometry if you went that way? Or the same mass, I guess, right?
I suppose, yeah, you could, yeah. I think that
the nature of this part.
Yeah, I think that his problem is probably going to be something that happened a little bit earlier in that sketch.
I think so too.
More so than with this one, yeah.
Oh, we see the JAYUS. He's got his
okay, look at that
first side up.
Mirror and merged everything. Wow, that was pretty sweet.
All right, Smiley's getting a Ace says the smiley exploit sounds cool.
Yeah, the smiley exploit. I like that. So we're going to see here now the Smiley's running a custom feature script that we've seen before in our CAD versus CAD competitions. And we're going to see if he's able to answer within tolerance. So he's going to be trying to figure out what is the correct material. So that was shown on the title block when we saw the title block earlier. And then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be seeing if he's able to come up with the correct material. I'm sorry, with the correct mass. Excuse me.
Correct mass, yep.
So he's looking at the material, and now he's going over to YouTube to type in his answer. We're going to see what he comes up with. Remember, these models, a lot of times these models do include a tolerance. I think this one has a tolerance of plus or minus 0.001.
Yeah.
Pretty tight tolerance here. Plus or minus 0.001 pounds.
All right, and the JAYUS is looking like he's coming up behind. It's pretty much neck and neck, I think.
Okay, so the Smiley has come in with an answer, but unfortunately that answer is not within spec. So when we're working in the world of engineering and we're working in the world of manufacturing, what'll happen is the engineer, the project manager, the designer will say, this needs to be within a certain tolerance. So the answer is 0.xxx. And if you made all the geometry correctly, it'll land within that tolerance. That tolerance might be on a dimension, but in this case, it's on the overall mass of the part. So
absolutely,
it looks like the Smiley is coming in with 0.8459 grams as his answer. I'm sorry, pounds as his answer, and that is not within that specified tolerance. So he's going to have to tighten that up a little bit. He's going to have to look. I see that there looks to be almost a flat spot, an abrupt transition into that upper arc there, and I think he's going to need to figure out how to clear that up. A lot of times in the world of engineering, we would call that a tangency, a tangent relationship, or a tangent transition. So we'll see if that little hint maybe helps him. And for the JAYUS, I just want to remind the JAYUS that you want to remember that some of these dimensions are called out as radius and some are called out as diameter. And so you're going to need to take a look at that and see if you can't figure out, you know, what's going on. If that hint maybe helps you figure out what's going on up at the top of your model there. But it looks like in the chat we see Aaron C says, "Dang, Toby, that's a brutal tolerance. No room for error." Yep, that is a little bit brutal. Yeah, that's usually what we do. We do like 0.1% usually for our tolerances.
I like FPV kevs though. I like this. This is one I can actually do. So I feel like there's both sides. The tolerance might be a little tight, but I think once you get it, that area of satisfaction is just like, oh my god, I finally got it. So
yeah, exactly. And Victor K saying, "I see some underdefined geometry." Yep. That's exactly it. Whenever you have that blue geometry, you got to get that worked out. You got to figure out what's going on with that blue geometry. Yeah. So we'll see what happens here between these guys.
Smiley's deleting that whole arc and he said, I'm going to start over on that point. So we'll see what he ends up doing there.
See what he comes up with.
JAYUS is coming in with something. Changing some dimensions. And
Ken Haley says, hint to both guys. Look at your model, see if it matches the drawing. Yeah.
Dom, fully defined 70% of the time. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
70% of the time, it works 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So
I like that too.
Yeah.
Well, both of our runners are feeling the pressure, I'm sure. It's not easy when the whole world is watching, and when you have some former champs here, some former tournament runners, some of the real heroes of the CAD versus CAD scene are in here today watching. So don't worry, guys. We all started out at the same place. We all started out just learning, and like this is how you learn some of these lessons.
I think Smiley looked like he was on the right track, and then I don't know what's happened.
This tournament is great for beginners trying to learn. Yes, exactly, Vicky. Vicky Chong in the chat. Aaron T says, I'm with Dom. 70% of the time is good enough. There we see the Smiley on the left there trying to approach this a different way, maybe trying to approach it with an automated
there we go.
relationship. Yeah, that looked a little bit cleaner to me.
Uh-huh.
Let's see if this is what he needed to kind of tidy this thing up. Now he's just got to figure out how to get rid of that little extra geometry. And we see that on the right, we got the JAYUS who's still fighting with that arc, still trying to figure out what to do with that arc. So I know we've all been there before. I definitely feel bad. Ex Machina says, I didn't want to comment before, but these students are doing a great job for their expertise with CAD. Yeah, for their experience with CAD. Yes, very nice.
Absolutely. I think we got,
okay.
Smiley came in with another
Smiley
answer.
coming in with an answer, revised answer, 0.858. And that is correct.
There we go.
So congratulations. Well
Good
done,
job.
my friend. Great job. And the Smiley is going to earn the first point here in this match. Good job, Smiley. Congratulations. Congratulations.
I feel like
GG.
that first, like the teacher in me is struggling so hard right now. Like I want to go over and help him. He's right there.
I'll bet, man.
Yeah.
That's probably the hardest part about all this.
Especially being in the same room as them. It's like, oh, they're right there. I can see it.
Yeah.
Just press this button. So.
Wow. So, guys, put a GG, a good game, in the chat. Well done, my friends. Well done. Mr. Fancy Pants in the chat says, let's go, Smiley. Nice, nice. I love that. Classmate cheering you on throughout this thing. That is awesome. Mesa Makes in the chat says, GG. Yes, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, guys. Well, listen, you guys both did great, especially for this being the first one of the competition. I'm sure that there were some what's it called?
Jitters
Butterflies,
and
jitters,
hiccups, yeah.
butterflies, yeah. So
all of it, yep.
Let's get into it again here. It looks like the Smiley is getting a low power warning. Let's get him a charger. Maybe that's why he was going so slow in the beginning there. Let's make sure we get him a charger. And guys, let's go back to the Wheel of Fate. Who is clairvoyant today? Who's feeling clairvoyant? Let me know. Let me know. And we got Katie in the audience watching. Shout out to Katie. Thanks for joining us today. Hope you're enjoying your Friday. That is awesome. All right, guys, we got Aaron C saying 2, David saying 8, Dom saying 6, Jim U saying 8, Pico Boo saying 7, Micah saying 3, Vicky Chong saying 3, Pico Boo saying 7, Ex Machina 7. Lots of 7s here today. And Ken is going to go with 5 again. Let's let this thing rip and see what happens. Here we go. Looks like it's going to be 8. So congratulations to David right away, demonstrating his clairvoyance. Jim Yu getting in there with 8 as well. Chris Knudsen, let's go. 8 is indeed. You win a pat on the back and a high five. Good job. And you get to be clairvoyant. Go to casino tonight. This is your night to go. If you already have a little bit of clairvoyance going, you may as well parlay that into a massive win. All right, here we go. We're gonna take a look at this drawing, get this drawing set up, and we're gonna learn just a little bit more about our runners. We learned last time a little bit about them, but maybe there's a little more we could learn about them, Corey.
Yeah, absolutely. So Smiley, like we said, he's pretty good with Blender. He's working on that. I bet you he wishes we could do Blender today. I think he's memorized those shortcuts, and I think that's part of the thing that's making him have those hiccups. But he says his favorite anime is Berserk. And he actually has a YouTube channel called The Real Smiley. So he asked me yesterday, can I make that one of my facts? You think Toby would shout me out? And I was like, well, that's my job tomorrow, so I'll do it. So at The Real Smiley on YouTube, if you want to go check out his gaming videos, he does a lot of live streams and stuff. So
boom, got it.
And then the JAYUS, I found out he's an artist and hasn't showed me a whole lot of his drawings. I wish he would show me more. I have a whole Spider-Man wall. I want more. Him being a Spider-Man fanatic, I want more Spider-Man art up in my classroom. But he's also a bookworm, and so I've seen him. I've had him bring books back to the library for me here on campus, and he's reading them on his way up to the office and turning them in for me. So pretty cool. He's always looking to learn more and getting after it. So
it's so awesome, man.
Kind of students you want to have. So
it's so important. I mean, anybody, if you ever watch any of like the self-help guys or the guys who are like business advisors, people who seem to make it and become very successful, one thing that seems to be very consistent is they all say, you got to learn how to read. You got to learn how to read and not just read, but learn how to read books and learn how to absorb that and learn how to make the time to read books, you know, and put in the effort and learn how to love it. you know, because there's so much knowledge in there, and it's just such a good exercise for your mind, and it just helps you level up, and you always hear that across the board from people who are successful. So shout out to reading, shout out to JAYUS. That is awesome. All right, guys, well, let's get into it. We now know what this challenge is going to be. We've had our runners. We've given our runners a chance to kind of work out some of the initial butterflies. Don't forget, at the beginning of the challenge, make sure that you set your units correctly based on what is shown on this print. And here we go. This next 3D CAD battle between the SMILEY and the JAYUS, the real SMILEY and the JAYUS, begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in XXX grams? So this part is in millimeters. Now, I know that your class usually works in inches and pounds, so this might be a little bit of unfamiliar territory, but this model is made out of 1060 aluminum alloy. The material density is 2,700 kilograms per cubic meter. Of course, you need that because volume times density will give you mass. And this is a model that is made using millimeters. So make sure that our runners are setting their units to millimeters. Before you get started, check your workspace units, and it looks like you're going to have to decide how to build this thing, right? You could do this as a revolve. You could do it as 2 extrusions.
Do it as a stack, essentially. Yeah, there's a million ways to go, and
yeah,
I've had kids draw this whole thing and all lines if they could, you know, or like something similar to this. And
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's very interesting to see how they wrap their heads around it.
Well, let's see what they do. So here we go.
That's kind of my teaching philosophy. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. You get it done. It doesn't matter if it took you. I mean, obviously time is money, but if you get it done and it's on your own time, as long as you show up to work with that drawing the next day, as long as it, you know, and you learn something from it. So
and you learn from it, exactly.
Yeah, one of those teachers I learned that philosophy from actually just commented in the chat. Scott Johnson. He was my 8th grade English teacher, and actually came back and took that welding class from me. So he said, you know, kind of cool to see inspiring some students and letting them down this path. He was one of those guys that was really into tech and got me to like always be on computers and learn stuff. And he actually had us have laptops back in my cousin did it back in like 96, 97. As 7th and 8th graders, and they were some big old laptops then. So we were ahead of the curve a long time ago. So thanks, Scott, for everything you did. This wouldn't be happening without you. So
yeah, listen to what Scott says here. Great to see Corey, my former junior high school student, inspiring so many students and leading them down the path to a more successful life, making learning fun. Very proud of you and your students, Corey. Nice. That's awesome. That's an awesome shout out,
teachers
Scott.
teaching teachers to teach kids to be better. Like Scott's one of the main reasons I became a teacher. Absolutely. I actually had his wife as a 4th grade teacher too. So
wow.
Both Johnsons are getting me. They kept me going down the path of education. So
wow, that is really
Scott and
awesome. Yeah, that is really awesome. Cool. And Micah says that cutout could be a little tricky. Yeah, we see the SMILEY. The SMILEY looks like he got off to a pretty good start there with that kind of stacked approach. Drew a circle, extruded it, drew another circle, extruded it. Oh, it looks like the JAYUS might still be in inches. That's not going to work out good.
Oh yeah,
might want to give him a heads up.
Guys.
Let him know. Maybe we needed to change our workspace units. Yeah, make sure that that's in millimeters. So there you go. So he changed it pretty quickly there. And now he's going to go back. I'm sure he's going to go back now, and he's going to update those dimensions. Yeah, exactly. Oh, full restart.
Oh, he's just starting over. Yep.
Let's go.
Clean sweep.
I like it. Get that inches stuff out of here. I always run into people.
You see some Ivan exploits. I know it's hard when we're designing stuff. I'm always like, do I want to have a spot?
Yeah,
they could do that with, or
yeah. And so, I mean, for those of you who are in the audience who are wondering what we're talking about when people are talking about the Ivan exploit, you could see an example of it here on this part, on this flat bar. If we were to take a look at that hole, you know, as long as that hole is along the central axis of the part, it doesn't really matter where it's located relative to the nose of the part, because it's going to be removing the same amount of material. So if we were to bring up that 2D print for that part, we could see in the 2D print, we've got a dimension that's locating that hole. That dimension is 88 millimeters. Well, if you just drop that hole in there anywhere along that green center line, the hole's going to remove the same amount of material. Absolutely. Yeah, so you get the same amount of mass. So that's what we call the Ivan exploit. And that's something that was pioneered by one of our first runners in the tournament, none other than Ivan the Reasonable. And so it actually started kind of an arms race where then I had to start designing parts that couldn't be exploited. So that would mean like adding drafted faces onto the bottom of the part or curved faces onto the bottom of the part so that they couldn't do an Ivan exploit. But you know, the reality is that it's just part of the fun of this tournament, of this series, and it's definitely something that's out there. Couldn't do it in the real world, but you could definitely get away with it in these tournaments.
Well, you could do it once, I guess, in the real world, and then your boss is going to tell you need to make that part again. So
yeah, and you'll say, "I learned from TooTallToby."
Yeah, I see Brian Donovan. He's another one of my ag teacher friends. So cool to see my students are just starting to work on a 2-week on-shape unit. A lot of inspiration right here. So I'm hoping, Brian, that you're one of those teachers that's going to reach out to me and Toby to do a contest for your school too, because I think Brian's the one who's kind of front running the fabrication contest that we started in the state, and so I know he'll be ready to get some kids drawing some cool stuff. So
wow,
hopefully they pay attention and look at some tutorials from me and Toby, and we'll get them on board to be able to do their own tournament through Kingsburg High School. So
yeah, that'll be great.
How long have these students been using CAD, Aaron? These guys are mostly sophomores and juniors, predominantly sophomores, and they started their freshman year about September of their freshman year because our shop flooded. So they got a good, couple 3 or 4 weeks of just doing this, and then we got told that the installation was on back order, so it was going to be a little bit longer before they actually started welding and using the tools. So we just kept rocking and rolling, and they've been doing it for probably about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years now at this point for some of them.
It's awesome. Yeah, and they're using this in coordination with manufacturing processes as well. So what types of things are they learning in the manufacturing world? Are they learning like welding?
So a lot of what we do, and this was my baby when I was going through high school, was the CNC plasma table. So I run stuff on that table every day. I mean, if there's a sheet of metal on that table, it's getting burnt within 5 or 10 minutes before somebody starts cutting something out on it. So it looks like we might have, maybe not. Thought we were gonna have a number coming in. But yeah, so they focus mostly on sheet metal. So the sheet metal stuff you do, they see, I could totally make that. I had him one day, he was bored and finished a bunch of his stuff. And I said, cool, I need a hook for my backpack. Can you make this? We're going to go cut it out on the plasma table. I keep setting my backpack on the floor and I don't like it. I kick it around when I'm walking around teaching, make me a hook. And he's like, well, what does it need? And I was like, it needs to hold this handle. And so he brought out the calipers and some micrometers and was measuring and took some notes. And then I said, well, it needs to go into brick too. So we got to use concrete anchors. So here's your bolt that has to use. So he made it happen, and it wasn't perfect, but then he went back and edited it. And I said, okay, now we can reuse these for welding helmets, or we can use this for jackets or whatever. Smart. Right? So
yep, smart.
I see the Smiley might be trying to use an Ivan exploit. It looks like
it. The
majority of it.
The very exploit we discussed.
All right, it might be close enough.
And FPV Kevin in the chat says, got it.
So you got it, yep.
Aaron C says, nice. I wish I would have gotten straight into parametric CAD instead of spending the first few years with SketchUp. Interesting.
Yes. So my reasoning for getting into SketchUp, I had a whole list of SketchUp curriculum, and I was like, all right, I'm going to give it to them. We're going to do it. And then I found Onshape like 2 days before, and then I taught myself over the weekend how to use Onshape so I could get these kids I was like, because I had used Fusion 360, and I was like, this is similar, and that's kind of my mind space right now. But so I love Onshape compared to the other programs, especially with the kids.
Are there any tools in Onshape with regards to the sharing that help you as a teacher? Like, is there a teacher's portal or anything?
There is. They have added a classes feature, and it's a little more. They're not trying to be like Canvas or any other grading. Like they're not Google Classroom or anything. They're like, we understand drawings, and you can open split screen and grade your stuff as you need. So you're able to do that. And what's nice is that anything they make, I mean, it's nice, I guess, when you're in the grading mindset, but when you're in the fabrication mindset, there's times where I'll go to pull up one of my used drawings or my recent drawings, and I'll see, oh, wow, these guys have been working like crazy. My recent drawings are all the stuff they've been doing because we're technically under the same company. So it works out really well. That's
awesome. Well, we're looking
at
I'm getting a little distracted. I'm looking at Smiley. It looks like he might be coming in here with something. I'm not sure if he's committing. Here it is. We see Smiley coming in with an answer. 110 grams. And Corey, we have ourselves a winner.
There we go.
Congratulations. Wow. Let's bring up the victory cat for the Smiley. Wow. Congratulations, Smiley. You done it. That is awesome. Guys. Good job. I'm having a hard time bringing up the extra win for him over there. It's showing up in the wrong spot. Let's see here. Let's get this over here.
Yeah, and the JAYUS, it looked like he was right there, almost had it. It's a couple of clicks. That's what I tell him when we do this. I was like, who am I going to pay? I'm going to hire 2 of you guys. Do I want to hire the guy that's going to do this, quicker? Because then I can make more parts, right? The quicker I can get parts out, the quicker we can get machining stuff. So more money back in the business's pocket. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think there was probably 20 more seconds, and I think the JAYUS would have had it. So good job, both you guys.
Yeah, they were both right there. Wow, wow, wow. Good job, guys. Congratulations, and congratulations to Smiley. He's going to be moving on. He's going to be winning our first prize from our prize sponsor. Wow, wow, wow. That was really, really awesome and really fun to watch. So thank you guys so much. And we've got another match here. Now, Corey, I know we were trying to end this by the top of the hour. What is your situation? Do you have a hard stop? Can we go into overtime for these other 2 guys? Uh-oh.
Oh, did I lose you? There we go. Yeah,
back.
we have the library till noon, so we're good to go.
Okay, awesome. Then let's just keep this train rolling. And
awesome.
Guys, put a GG in the chat. Both runners did an awesome job. What a great way to kick off this tournament. So thankful to these high school students. And thank you, Corey, so much for giving us such a great background on these guys. That was really, really awesome. W is in the chat, says, I'm waiting for Fancy Pants versus NXC. He wants to see this action. Yo, let's go. So guys, don't forget to hit the like button on this video. What do we got for watchers? 74 people watching. That is awesome. Let's see how many likes we can get into this thing. We got 39 likes. Let's see if we can get that like count up to the maximum number of likes. Let's see if we can ratio that at 1-to-1. Don't forget to share and reshare as well. Take a screen capture of what we're doing here and share that out to your network. Let people know and say, this is pretty cool. And of course, you can sign up for a free account over at TooTallToby.com. You may have noticed that on some of the prints, there was a reference to TooTallToby.com/practice. And if you like these kinds of challenges, there's over 100 2D to 3D challenges. We got about 20 free challenges in there that you can filter by skill level. So you can start tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And then if you really like these challenges, then you can sign up for our premium membership and you can unlock that entire library. So what's cool about this app is that not only can you filter by the challenge level, like this challenge here, you can see this was a tier 3 challenge. You can also filter by the skills that are being challenged. Like this is a swoopy, lofty part. It uses revolve and sweep. And there's almost always a tutorial in there for you to help you through those challenges. So this is really a great resource for you if you're trying to learn 3D CAD. Check it out, TooTallToby.com/practice. When you're done, you get some analytics that tell you how you ranked relative to the field. So were you faster or slower than the average time? And you can even do a try again function so you can even get faster. So if you're enjoying seeing all these cool 2D to 3D challenges, head on over to TooTallToby.com, sign up for a free account, try out some of the free challenges. We got about 20 free challenges there in the library. And then if you really like it, keep going. You know, you can take it, you can access that entire library. I think we've got 130 finished here by Drew, 130 finished here by Breadmon, and Drew was using SolidWorks, Breadmon was using Fusion, and then Chris Oddum was using Onshape. So really, you can use any 3D CAD system you want to do these challenges. TooTallToby.com/practice.
Yeah, I was staying up last night checking to make sure my custom feature worked, and I got a couple records on some of them, so it was kind of cool. My wife was like, "You're still up?" And I was like, "It's still going. I want to keep going." And then we kind of use it as a flex in class, and
nice.
We use it as a competition some days. You know, it's like, hey, go to Toby's and let's do this. Let's see who can get the fastest time. You know,
that's awesome.
Got some stuff, and we'll do some prizes and stuff. Little mini tournaments. So
that's awesome, man. That's so cool to hear. Yeah, well, stay tuned. I mean, we're always adding stuff to the app. We got some really exciting stuff right on the horizon right now. You may even notice that when you're in the app, if you scroll down, you can see the top 10 people that finished it, like the fastest times that finished it. So we're always adding new functionality to this. That's really cool that you guys are using it in class. All right, absolutely. Guys.
Some of our kids, we went up there and looked, and we were like trying to see. I was like, oh yeah, I'm kind of up there, and then I saw Escalete took one of my spots, and I was like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing.
Oh, let's go. I like that. Wow, so we got a speed demon running next week.
He's trying, yep.
Oh, I can't wait. Well, and of course, I want to say thank you to all our sponsors as well. Thank you to Solid Box, longtime sponsor of the channel. Thank you to Bubba Boards. Thank you to 3D Connection. And thank you to Mesa Makes, sponsoring the tournament, huh, Corey?
Yep.
I like it. Let's get the word out.
Trying to build that channel. So.
Yo, let's go. Check out Corey's channel, Mesa Makes. We got links down in the description. Check it out. And he's got lots of great stuff in there, especially if you're learning Onshape. You're always putting up good stuff. I love watching your videos. And I even learn a thing or two here and there. So thank you so much for sharing that knowledge. And we also did we did ask in the newsletter if anybody wanted to make a personal donation. We got a few. I want to give a huge shout out to Sally D. Sally D, I don't know if you're in the chat today, but thank you so much for your personal donation. To Rigo R, thank you so much for your personal donation. And to Steve J. These guys all heard about this tournament, heard it was for high school kids, and said, what can I do to help support? What can I do to help make this a reality? And so huge thank you to everyone who gave a personal donation as well. All right, Pico Boo says, I just subbed to Mesa Makes.
Sweet, there's one more.
Let's go. One more on our way. We're going to catch up with Mr. Beast soon.
Right? Slow and steady. We'll almost get there.
Slow and steady. So, guys, we just saw Smiley versus the JAYUS. Smiley taking down the win. He's going to move on to the January 24 semifinals. He's going to win the 3D Connection prize, the Pro Keyboard, the 3D Connection Pro Keyboard, and Pro Mouse. I got the Pro Keyboard over here. It's a little off camera. The Pro Keyboard here as well. And we got the Pro Mouse as well. And congratulations on winning that prize. And let's get into our next match here now. Mr. Fancy Pants versus NXC, a 10th grader versus an 11th grader. And so just like we did last time, we're going to run through a quick practice round with these guys. Let's do a different practice model this time just to mix it up a little bit, give ourselves a little variety. Variety is of course, the spice of life. And so any advice for these guys before they get into this practice round?
Always, always, always check your units. All right. Make sure you have your units set.
Yeah, I think that is great advice. Check your units. Make sure you're using the correct units relative to the print. All right, guys, let's jump into it here. This practice models match begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in XXX grams? No tolerance. This part is called brick. This is our practice part. Simple 30 by 30 square, extruded to a depth. And we're going to see here that we're going to have Mr. Fancy Pants on the left. We're going to have NXC on the right. Let's take a look at our CAD versus CAD overlay here. Look at that brick. Look at that Mr. Fancy Pants font. I like that. Wow. Mr. Fancy Pants on the left. We got NXC on the right. These guys are both going through modeling this thing up. Uh-oh. Looks like NXC is struggling to find that that feature script.
There we go.
Mr. Fancy Pants coming in with an answer here, 170. Will, don't forget, we're gonna let the runners answer. Don't answer in the chat. What's going on with you guys? You guys know the rules. Aaron C, you know the rules. I'm gonna have to put these guys in a timeout, I think. These guys know the rules. Okay, here we go.
Box.
three unique fingers. Bruv, it's not been 3 seconds, Aaron C. Yeah, he's absolutely fast. Will's just saying, just test. Just test. All right, it's practice, dog. Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true. He just got excited. I know. All right. Well, let's make sure that so we saw Mr. Fancy Pants did come in with an answer 170 grams, and that is correct. And so Mr. Fancy Pants would get the point there. I just want to make sure that NXC is NXC's YouTube screen name. Is it also NXC?
Yeah, it is, right?
Okay.
Your YouTube screen name is NXC as well? Yeah. Did you type something into the chat real quick so we can see you? Say Mr. Mesa is my favorite teacher in the whole wide world.
Nice. I like that. Okay, so Mr. Fancy Pants would have gotten the point there. I'm not sure what's happening with that other point activator for Mr. Fancy Pants, so I'm going to have to figure that out, why that's not displaying correctly. But congratulations to Mr. Fancy Pants. He would have gotten that point.
NXC's got something in the chat now, so it's working.
NXC in the chat. Mr. Mesa is my favorite teacher in the world. Wow. World's favorite teacher.
There, right? Everything on the internet has to be true. So
wow.
We don't need to fact check that.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Log that on Wiki. All right, guys. Well, that's it for that practice round. Congratulations. All systems seem like they're working correctly. So let's go.
Awesome, awesome.
Guys, back to the test of clairvoyance, the wheel of fate. What is the next drawing going to be? And this is where you guys get to concentrate, get to think. Maybe I'll shuffle this up a little bit. Vicki Chong coming in with 03 right away. First person to answer. That's going to be some bonus points. I'm going to shuffle this up a little bit.
I think 4 is looking good to me. 4.
Okay, I like that. All right, here we go. Ate saying 11, dying on that hill.
Dying on that hill.
Let's go, Ate 11. I want it to be 11 now as well. Let's see what we end up with here. Okay. Looks like it's going to be 1. No one is... Oh, Rockcrawler has clairvoyance. Well done, Rockcrawler. Very nicely done. Congratulations. And that is correct. And so we're going to take a look at drawing number 1. And as we are getting this drawing ready, let's learn a little bit more about these students. Mr. Fancy Pants on the left is in 10th grade, and NXC on the right is in 11th grade. So, Corey, maybe you can tell us a little bit about these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Fancy Pants, it was a hard time trying to get facts out of these kids. I was like, I know you guys have done cool stuff, but he built a 212cc mini bike. Doesn't always run the best. I've picked him up on the side of the road when it fails. He loves old country music like Hank Williams Jr., Waylon Jennings, and George Strait. And his flex on everybody, his flex fact is he likes to model using the trackpad better than the mouse. So today he will be not using an external mouse, although he has a mouse pad next to him, I guess, for comfort. It's like his security blanket, I guess.
Okay. Emergency mouse pad.
Yeah.
Wow. So he's going to do everything on the trackpad.
Yep. All trackpad. So,
okay.
Which kudos to you, because I hate the trackpad.
Yeah.
And NXC, his favorite food is tacos, and he loves to play Xbox. So anytime I'm talking to him about stuff, he's like, oh, hold on, let me shut this off, or let me get this. And oh, did you see this new game that came out? And I'm like, dude, it's always Xbox with you. They had to draw a logo last year too, and his logo he drew was Xbox. So
wow.
No questions asked. The first thing he drew was an Xbox logo. So
okay, cool. Well, soon he's going to be doing Xbox controller, getting some surfacing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go. All right, cool, guys. Well, good luck to Mr. Fancy Pants. Good luck to NXC. We're going to have Mr. Fancy Pants on the left, NXC on the right. And this is it, guys. Don't forget, when we show the print, make sure you take a moment and check the units. So
units.
Here we go. This first CAD battle between Mr. Fancy Pants and NXC begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in grams? XXXX grams. This is a millimeter part. And so this part is in 1060 aluminum alloy. The material has a density of 2,700 kilograms per cubic meter. We have 4 different materials you can choose from, but I feel like every one has been 1060 aluminum so far. So we'll see what happens. So now these guys have to decide what's their first sketch going to look like and what plane is that sketch going to land on. And they are both already into the software and making it happen. So let's see what kinds of decisions they make about how to design this part. Mr. Fancy Pants on the left, NXC on the right.
I know it's kind of like a hot topic when it comes to units. We always, and I'm the one who always is like inches, but millimeters is actually the not the norm for these kids. Because like I said, we actually do the fabrication. We're not just drawing this stuff, and we don't really buy a lot of things in millimeter metric. So for these kids, when it's in inches, you'd think it'd be a lot easier. Switching over to that metric is the hard for them. I know watching Model Mondays with you guys, there's people who are like, oh, I hate these inches, pounds, and seconds. And I was like, no, they're freedom units. We got to use them as long as we can.
Exactly.
Because I feel like eventually somebody's going to take them away.
So we see here that we've got a really interesting scenario where NXC on the right has decided to draw this thing looking at it from the side, where Mr. Fancy Pants has decided to draw it looking dead on it where that hole is. We also see a situation where the drawing might have too many dimensions. We saw that Mr. Fancy Pants went in there and added a dimension, and the design actually went over-defined. It went red, and that can definitely happen. And that's why a lot of times in CAD systems, you can change the dimension to be driven to make it into kind of a reference dimension. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll put on those extra dimensions just for the sake of make it a little easier to see, especially if you're looking at it from 2 different viewports. I might have the same dimension on both views, but I'll put them in brackets, and those brackets mean that the dimension is a reference. It means that dimension is extra. It's not really necessary, just an extra dimension for your reference. But it looks like Mr. Fancy Pants was able to quickly recover from that over-defined error, and now is going to be drawing first blood with his first extrusion, or possibly even his second extrusion.
He's on his second extrusion.
He's doing both from that same sketch. Wow.
Very, very good. Very, very
wow.
Optimizing using that same drawing over and over without having to redraw stuff. So that's why I tell the kids, I say, when you see a print, you can draw it once. Why draw it 3 or 4 times? So use as much geometry.
If you can add all that geometry in one view, sometimes that saves you from having to make additional relationships or even potentially erroring out later on. So I support that method, and I think we're all seeing how fast that was. Mr. Fancy Pants really cruising through this model. I wonder if he's drawn parts like this before.
I think he has. I think he's done some of I think he has some other practice models that are similar to this, and he has I think I have one in my practice packet that's similar to this. So,
and W in the chat says, let's go, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Yep. W's in here helping me pass out papers and stuff today too. So he's getting a practice for next week, and
awesome.
we got La La Lamb sitting over here too, watching and studying. So
Good, good.
everybody's ready to go.
All right, and Mr. Fancy Pants coming in with an answer here. 158 grams. And that is correct.
That's correct.
So well done, my friend. Congratulations. And that's going to earn you the first win marker. And man, NXC is right on his trail there, right behind him. Just a few more features and he would have had. He just had to fill it off that top part and add that cut. But I think we really saw the power there of creating all that geometry in one sketch and then using that one sketch for multiple features.
And I think NXC looked like he was trying to go a full round on that top fillet instead of extruding it out as a solid piece. So it looks some different techniques, kind of cool.
And I noticed also when he was doing that, he clicked on an icon that I actually haven't used before. It was like a modify radius icon. And I haven't used that before. So that's like really, now it's like intriguing me. So
I think I'm like 4 or 5 videos away from that on my toolbar for shifting the solids on my series that I'm doing right now. So eventually I'll have a tutorial on that.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely be watching that. That's sweet. Yeah, set your notifications for Mesa Makes for his videos so that you guys will all be able to learn with us. We can all learn together.
Every Monday.
Nice. All right, cool. All right, guys. Ate in the chat says, NXT, relax. It's a new round. You got this one. Yeah, both of our runners, really impressive, really solid functionality. Rich Penn in the chat says, GG to both. What's up, Rich? Good to see you. Great to see you in here. Welcome, welcome. John is in the chat. John G, welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us today, my friend. And Micah says, GG, Mr. Fancy Pants. GG, Fancy. Yeah, GG to both of our runners, really. Nice job. And guys, we're going to go back to the Wheel of Fate. We're going to find out what our next challenge is going to be. Let us know in the chat. Do you have any clairvoyance in your family? Have you ever done a 23andMe and discovered you have some psychics in your family?
I have the Neanderthal genetics is what it tells me. So
it's what it tells everybody. Yeah. I saw recently somebody took DNA from like saliva from an iguana and sent it into 23andMe.
I think they dropped it when they were testing my sample and they picked up some dirt on the way and they were like, oh yeah.
Yeah. You can pretty much send them in anything.
Right, yeah.
They just spin a wheel. They just do what we're doing here. They just spin the wheel.
Exactly. They're like, oh, you're from here now.
Oh, you're Neanderthal. Okay. All right, here we go, guys. Let's give this thing a shuffle. Make it even more random. And go. Here we go. Let's see. Did Ate stick with 11? He says 11 again. See if he gets it this time.
3, or is it going to be 2?
Wow.
It's always
right on the line.
2.
But we're going to see 2 here for this one. So let's go, guys, and let's get into this next battle. Let's learn a little bit more about our runners. They took all that time to promptly submit their fun facts. Let's learn a little bit more about these runners. I like this George Strait comment here. This is great.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, this and
old country.
Mr. Fancy Pants, I'm glad we came up with that name for him because I think I've seen him in a t-shirt maybe one day as our student. Every other day, he's always wearing a pearl snap button up and he's dressed to the nines always. So
wow, nice.
He's definitely an old country guy, and he's like 80 years old at heart, but we love him. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, like any typical good, farmer, rancher, cowboy, they love Mountain Dew. It's either Mountain Dew or Dr. Pepper. So he's definitely in the other camp when it comes to the soda.
Nice.
And he is actually one of our FFA officers here on campus. So pretty cool to see him getting involved in all these different areas and aspects and going from there. So
yeah, that is cool. And then for NXC, what else we got?
Yeah, NXC, like he said on Xbox, his favorite game is Rainbow Six Siege, and I think I'll talk to him about video games, and he's like, "Well, have you tried Siege yet?" And I was like, "Oh no, I don't have time, and I haven't done that." He's like, "Oh, well, you should try it." And then I'll talk to him about another game. Hey, have you tried Siege yet? And I'm like, "Still not yet. I'm sorry."
He's always going back to that Tom Clancy,
but he's always back. He's consistent, and he always does that. So really, really cool. I see FPV Kev. What does an FFA officer do? They pretty much run our program. It's a student-led organization, the Future Farmers of America. And they run meetings and our department, we're very hands off in terms of it's the kids that want to get it going. I mean, we're not going to leave them high and dry. We'll help them with whatever, but they do quite a bit. And actually, W is one of our FFA officers too. So we'll hear more about him next week.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow. And that's the Future Farmers of America. If anybody doesn't know what FFA is. All right, great. Cool, guys. Well, listen, we're ready to get into this next round. I do apologize. I forgot to give a shout out to the people who demonstrated clairvoyance. So John G comes in with 2.
A lot of 2s.
Nailed it. Very nice. Very nice. We got Aaron C comes in with 2 as well. Very nice. Very nice. You guys got it. 2 is the correct answer. Well done. And enjoy your weekend. This is your weekend. to be correct about a lot of stuff. All right. And with that, let's get into it here. This CAD battle begins in 3, 2. Oh, wait. Sorry. Hold on. Guys, don't forget when we show the print, check your units. Don't forget to check your units. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Check your units.
We're going to check units. All right, good luck. Good luck to Mr. Fancy Pants. Good luck to NXC. Here we go. This CAD battle begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in XXXX grams? This part is in plain carbon steel. Finally, we got a new material. Plain carbon steel, 7,800 kilograms per cubic meter, and this one is in millimeters. So this is, again, one of these parts that you could revolve or you could do it as a stacked approach. Let's flip over and see what our competitors decide. So on the left, we got Mr. Fancy Pants. Looks like he's going to be going through and doing this as a stacked approach, and it looks like, once again, he's going to be relying on creating multiple contours in the same sketch. We like that approach. Yeah, we like that approach. And we see that on the right, NXC is taking a very similar approach. We like that as well. We like seeing the auto dimensioning be applied here. Definitely important to get that auto dimensioning working and implemented in your workflow. I've got a video on how to do that. You've probably got a video on how to do that.
Awesome.
Definitely.
So we got Mr. Fancy Pants jumping into that circular pattern. So that's definitely something, proud teacher moment, definitely taught him and was hoping that's the way he would go. I know there's a bunch of other ways you could do this, but.
Yeah, did it at the sketch level.
Yep.
Very cool. And was able to do it as an instance of 3 and then was able to modify that right there in the sketch. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Some CAD programs, once you do the pattern, you're just kind of stuck with whatever you chose. So that's cool that he was able to edit it and he knew how to edit it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just kind of going through almost as though he's looking at this thing from that main view with all the geometry all defined there in that one single print.
Yeah, as we go through and we do these in class, we tell them, look at this as like, this is your sketch. This is what you're going to draw. And then that other view, that side view, that's your extrusion notes. Like essentially, this is what you're going to use to make that have some dimension, some third dimension. Because like I said, a lot of what we do is we draw for that plasma cutter. And so everything's pretty much top down 2D anyways. I think when I switch them to go from the top plane to other planes, they're like, for the first couple weeks. And then they finally are like, oh, okay, I see why we have to do these in different orders. So, wow.
Aaron C saying quick. Fancy has the goods. Yes, that's the quote of the tournament right there.
Fancy has the goods.
Man.
All right. Coming with a number.
Fancy just chopped through that part like it was butter. Wow. Dude is going to be a star. Yeah. Wow, that was really, really
impressive.
Have
to have him sign up for the Open.
And NXT also showing some really, really nice progress there. Yep. And Mr. Fancy Pants coming in with an answer. 3,171 grams. And that is correct.
There we go.
And congratulations to Mr. Fancy Pants. Congratulations to NXC. Really good matchup from both of our runners there. Really fun watching both of them. I think they both had a great approach. But wow, that part, it was like sometimes you get these parts that are just like right in your wheelhouse, and it seemed like that might have been one of those parts for Mr. Fancy Pants.
I think he's definitely made, this was similar to the engine deal we did, right? Fancy Pants? Isn't that similar to the engine cap that we made, like that flange that you guys did? Yeah, so it's definitely, I know he's actually made a part similar to this, so that's kind of cool.
Wow. Well, I thought it was great. I thought it was great watching him run through that. I noticed that as soon as he used as soon as he extruded the first extrude, the first feature, he knew that sketch was going to go hidden. And so like I saw him like really smoothly
turn it
go
back
up
on,
and turn it back on again, and then he was able to jump right back in the extrude command. That's just something that you learn from a lot of practice, a lot of repetition, and very, very impressive run from both of our runners, really from all of our runners today. I want to give a huge shout out, a huge thank you to Smiley, to the JAYUS, to Mr. Fancy Pants, and to NXC. You guys all did awesome. Thank you all so much. Great job. I am absolutely blown away. Yeah, this was so cool. Really, really, really fun today. Corey, thank you so much for helping coordinate this and organize this. And thanks to the kids for coming in on their day off, and thanks to you for coming in on your day off.
Yeah, I think we might go get some pizza here right now, so it won't be a total loss.
Well earned for sure. And guys, if you're out there, before you leave, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Be sure to subscribe to Corey's channel. And be sure to sign up for a free account over at TooTallToby.com so that you too can do these practice models, these 2D to 3D practice models. And thank you again so much, Corey. I hope that everybody goes and checks out your channel. And any final thoughts before we break?
Yeah, one last thing. I saw Doc Holliday's comment. He says, "I wish this existed when I was when I was in high school." And I said, "I say the same thing all the time, but I'm kind of glad it didn't, because then I wouldn't be here doing this. Like, I would not have become a teacher. I'd be in industry drawing, and so I feel like everything happens for a reason." So
you'd probably be an esports hero if it was in
probably. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll apply in the open next year.
Yeah,
we'll see what we can do.
Exactly. All right, great. Well, guys, give us a final goodbye in the chat. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Thank you all so much to you for being the most amazing chat ever. If you want to join us on Monday for some live competition, this is where we just compete amongst the chat at more of like a pro level. Some of the challenges are a little bit higher tier difficulty, but you're definitely all welcome to join us from any CAD system. And that's going to go live on Monday at 1 p.m. East Coast. And then, of course, we are going to be back next week. The tournament continues January 17th, 1 p.m. East Coast, 10 a.m. West Coast. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this, for kicking this thing off. And I will look forward to seeing everybody next week. See you, Corey. Have a great weekend.
All righty, you guys take care.